welcome to yet another fun-filled and exciting episode of your favorite panel discussion show. That is, of course, the Social League. I am Hansha Kapopi, and I will be your moderator for today. Now, today we're having quite an interesting topic in studio, but before we get into that, let's take a quick trip to the marketplace. So last week we had an amazing discussion on persons with disabilities. I mean, we touched on terminology. We also touched on how these people would like to be addressed when it comes to being a person with disabilities. And I think we've definitely learned a lot. And if you missed out, because I'm your guy and I love to plug you guys, of course, let's stay tuned for the recap.
I also think that the government is not doing enough, because looking back at the commitments they made at GDS 2018, Global Disability Summit, not all of them are met. And let me say, for example, employing people with disabilities, that is one of them that is not met. Because sometimes you apply for a job, they ask you if you are disabled or non-disabled. But just because you state that you are a person with disabilities, they will not take you.
The government is not doing much. Because even if you apply for a job or something, they won't really give you or something like that. I think they should also consider people living with disability to give jobs, financial help.
Before, I think this is the only platform that you avail to us, and we have to use it. Yes, I just want to add something. There is a tendency in the government that maybe persons with disabilities deserve only social grant. And it irritates me. Why? Because we can do much better than that. We need also to take part in economic activities. We want also to contribute to our country. We need to be. That's why I'm saying that if we are not empowered, we will be like useless. And remember that we are the fathers, we are the mothers, we are the house owners, we are the family. I have seen some situations that we are busy lobbying for financial assistance. Imagine there are people, more than 21 people living in the same house, and they just depend on that social grant. Just 21 households depending on that.
Right, so this week we will be talking about all things digitalization, as this week's topic is moving into a digital world. I think seeing that we are living in a global pandemic and all that, I think there's a lot that we are doing with technological advancements and so on. So I'm joined by the co-founder of Chomi Bytes as well as the co-founder of Taxi Connect, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, thanks for having us. My name is CJ Dumeni and I'm the co-founder of Chomico. I'm happy to be here.
Cool. I am Reinhold Shivagala and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Taxi Connect.
Yes.
Glad to be here as well.
Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so to kickstart today's discussion, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired these two businesses?
I'll let you go first.
Oh, thanks, man. So Taxi Connect, man, it was really inspired by safety and convenience when it comes to the taxi industry. So those are the key factors that really inspired me in starting Taxi Connect. And that's what I ran with, man.
Oh. Well, Chomi started as purely as an e-commerce company. We think that e-commerce is the future, and we believe that it can transform Namibia especially. So we started off with a food delivery app, as that people know as Chomi Bites, and recently we're moving into more and more things. Yeah, but the inspiration was basically to create an e-commerce industry for Namibians and that they can take part in. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So I think for you guys, there wasn't really a transformation to a digital platform, because you guys just started off as a digital platform.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about how that is going.
I think the transformation is still there to some degree because even though we started as digital platforms, we're both working in industries that are predominantly not digital. You know, so you have to change the way you think about things. You have to be able to use your resources in a different way. And I'm sure for Ronald as well, it must have been the same, especially in your industry, knowing that a lot of people are fixed and are used to having it be analog. To say, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, just like CJ said, man, like we're working in industries where people aren't really used to digitalization. Looking at my industry or our industry, which is now the taxi industry, these guys aren't used to using platforms like Taxi Connect before and how they can really get clients through it. So like CJ said, it's an ongoing process where you're constantly digitalizing it and making it very efficient for them to use. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, you mentioned that people are not really used to these platforms. So what are the importance of these platforms, especially in the world that we live in today?
Massive. I think massive, because especially in countries like Namibia where we lack resources. And we lack infrastructure. That's exactly what technology was created for. In order to step in the gaps between where there's no resources and there's no infrastructure and so on. So in countries like Namibia, we can really benefit from digital platforms. It gives us scale, gives us affordability. Obviously, the adoption rate has to change and people have to buy into it. But I think there's a lot of answers. A lot of things will be answered if we're able to look towards that as a real solution. And we've seen it happen before. We've seen it happen in countries like China, where China before was not the superpower that we know them as today. And they decided to focus on two things, was industrialization and digitization. So after focusing on those two things, their economy just took off, right? So so we've seen the lessons, and I think it's time for us to learn.
Sorry, just quickly. Sorry, what was the
Like, what do you think is the importance of
okay, cool. I think it's important for every business to kind of digitalize, because with this, you are able to really cut out the errors that humans make. And I think one of the key technologies that many businesses need to look into is how they can automate their processes or automate their operations, which kind of like it eases the flow of any business operation. And
so I think one thing that I'm getting from the both of you is that digitalization is actually something that is important, and so many businesses need to look into it. So what do you guys feel is what technology should businesses invest in when it comes to transforming to a digital business or just starting a digital platform?
That's a good question. I think what he mentioned, automation is definitely a good way to start. There's a lot of things that require a lot of time, a lot of red tape, people filling in forms, people doing whatever, and you're dealing with paperwork. Not only is it good for the environment, but being able to optimize your processes in that sense. Maybe you're onboarding people or whatever for whatever type of operation you have. Being able to have correct databases and stuff like that, especially in places like government or whatever, where everything can just go through a digital platform and is stored digitally. That makes a huge difference. But for us, like what I said, what we care about is really e-commerce. And the reason why we do is because unemployment rate in Namibia is extremely high. And people need to sort of fend for themselves and be able to create opportunities for themselves. And we think there's no better place than you being able to create a product or create anything and put it online and actually have people buy it. You know? So with an e-commerce industry, we're really creating opportunity for a lot of people. But people have to buy into it. People need to understand that it makes sense and it actually works. That if I buy this, the product will actually come, and that trust and everything has to go into it. So that's kind of the battle that we're fighting right now.
Yeah.
But we're excited because we honestly believe if we can create a large community of online shoppers, any Namibian can create something, put it online and sell it to someone.
Yeah.
And it won't be just someone in their area; it could be someone in a different region, maybe even in a different country. So you're getting your access to more customers and so on. So that's sort of the battle that we're looking to tackle. But yeah, I think that's where we chose to start. But there's a lot of places you can choose to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, let me just, firstly, I think the gig community is something that's going to be huge.
Massive.
Especially here in Namibia, and I feel like the opportunity is quite huge.
Yeah.
And the pie is huge for everyone to step into because, like CJ said, it really creates opportunities for the unemployed. And I think the other thing that I'm going to touch on is really something that we spoke about again, which is automation. I think especially for startups and small businesses, I think it's very important for us to kind of tap into this automation because you don't necessarily always have the startup budget or the capital to do most of this stuff. But if it's automated, I think you can really go further from the get-go.
Yeah, that's really good. I think so many Namibians, it's always difficult for Namibians or just Africans in general to get into something that is, when something new is introduced to them, it's just like, is it really going to work? And I think this is definitely the future, especially within the world we live in today. I think if you want something, if you can get it online and have it come to you instead of you going to the shop, I think there's a lot of advantages that come with that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. Such a lovely discussion that we're having here in studio with moving into a digital world. We'll be right back after this short break. Right, if you're just joining us, you are watching The Social League, your favorite panel discussion show. And today we're speaking about moving into a digital world. I am joined by the co-founder of Chomi Bytes, as well as the co-founder of Taxi Connect. And it's just a lovely discussion that we're having here in studio. I mean, when we were just speaking about when you're moving into a digital platform, you need to look into automation and all these different stuff. But then my follow-up question would be, what do you think is the impact of digitalization on businesses?
Direct impact of digitalization is obviously reduced cost.
Yeah.
Also scalability. I think scalability is the big thing. And at the same time, I think we can increase our learning a lot in the sense of like, because if you move into a new industry and you don't have the money, you don't have the processes, you don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
With digitization, chances are someone has done it already, and the blueprint's already there.
Yeah.
And you don't have to spend so much money on research and so on and so on and so on. Ooh. So we can learn quicker, we can scale quicker, and yeah, I think it just makes operational sense, you know.
Yeah.
And also regarding COVID, it just makes your business almost bulletproof, you know.
Yeah.
How do you take a retail business that people can't necessarily come to your space now? What are you going to do to get to your customers, you know?
Yeah.
So certain things like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I mean, like, operational cost is a huge thing. And like I said before, especially for a startup where you don't really have that capital. So if your systems and your operations are automated, it kind of gets you to that place faster. And yeah, I mean, like efficiency is one of the most important parts of any business. So if your systems are all digitalized, it gives it access to more than one person.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if a driver comes to Taxi Connect and they want to register on the platform, it's much easier for us it's much easier for them to do it on the app. We can get around 10 drivers to join the platform
Yeah.
rather than them coming to our offices, and then we have to deal with it manually one by one, and it's congested in the office. So yeah.
No, I think it's definitely very important, especially for businesses, because I mean, once you move online or to a digital platform, it's the accessibility is it's there.
It opens you up.
And especially with when COVID came, I think I was one person that abused Taxi Connect so much, and I think I've also abused Chomi Bites here and there. But with Taxi Connect, I was so busy. I was like, I'm just gonna get the Taxi Connect, and it's very fast, efficient, and all that. So let's speak a little bit about the challenges, because I think with every great thing comes a few challenges. So what are the challenges that you can face when it comes to going onto a digital platform?
Oh wow! I think one of the biggest challenge is people trying to bypass the systems that you build. So that is one of the challenges that we're currently experiencing as well, where you have those different drivers that will try to bypass your system. You know? I think that's the biggest for us, humans trying to bypass the systems that you build.
I think some of the challenges definitely includes just users' adoption rate in the sense of building trust with customers. Namibians in general just don't trust online platforms or don't trust digital kind of space and want to be able to see it and feel it.
Exactly.
So it's a big challenge to be able to convince them and let them understand that this is real and it works. And also just obviously as a startup in general, everything regarding startup processes and access to markets and funding and so on. Startup problems are these are a whole list. If I start now, I won't finish challenges. But I think basically like really getting people to understand and trust the platforms is a big challenge. But that's I think the reason why we should be good at it is, I mean, we're CEOs and stuff like that, to be able to pull that off, you know, so we can eventually relay the message and let them understand. So,
Yeah, I think we've touched on pretty much everything, and I hope someone watching this who owns a business can actually start moving onto a digital platform, because I think once everybody starts moving onto a digital platform, it's much easier for people to see, okay, this is actually working. I might as well start working when it comes to online businesses. I might as well start shopping online and all those different things. So what are the final comments that you guys have for our viewers?
Sure. So I would say that digitalization is coming whether we like it or not.
Yes.
Number one. So I think it's up to you, if you have a business or so on, to be able to see which side of the wave you want to be. For me and my brother here, we decided to build a boat. So when the wave comes, we're ready. But I think we've seen it take over the world in every single aspect of it. And I think it's definitely coming here. It's going to hit Namibia hard. And it depends where you want to be, the strategy for it, if you're a young entrepreneur or so on. But as a consumer, just educate yourself and understand which platforms are good to use, which platforms don't work, what's the best way to pay, what's the best way to do ABCD. I think it will just make your life more convenient and so forth. But and we, like I said, we believe in e-commerce. We think that it's going to be a huge answer for Namibians. We think we'll be able to help a lot of people create income for themselves, and that's what we care about. So
yeah, man. It's here. Digitalization is here.
Literally.
And whether you own a business or not, you need to educate yourself.
I agree.
You need to know exactly how it works, how it can benefit you, and just take it on from them, and don't be one of the people that is just ignorant about it. You know, learn, educate yourself on all these different technologies. You never know when you need it. And I mean, for Taxi Connect, we're really here to transform and revolutionize the whole taxi industry, bring in safety and a whole lot of convenience. I think this is just the learning ground for us as a startup, and I believe that after all that we have learned, there is so much that we need to implement and really increase our territory and bring the safety and convenience all over, not only Namibia, but take it out to Africa as well.
All right. Right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I definitely learned a thing or two from this discussion, and I might have just start going home and thinking about what digital platform can I create as well for Namibia, especially. Yes. So today's topic was moving into a digital world, and I think we've learned so much from this. It's about time that we start supporting our online businesses and looking into it a little bit. If you own a business, try and move a little bit to e-commerce and see how that can benefit your business, and that way we can build a large community when it comes to e-commerce, etc. Right? Until next week, it is of course goodbye.